What better time to do a diesel heater installation than 9 o'clock at night? Why not? Let's do it. So I think I showed you roughly where some of the placements were going. This is all going to move around. Oh, I'm marking the cupboard. Give or take, roughly going there. I'm going to put a partition through here because of the heat this guy's going to generate. I don't want to cook the battery and all that sort of stuff. It will probably need to be ventilated. I didn't really think of that. It's going to have a ventilation shaft at the back for the intake. I wonder if that's going to be enough. I guess it would be because it's going to be drawing a heap of air through. Yeah, that should be enough. Anyway. It's going to sit pretty much in line with the middle where the axle is, because underneath the Caravan there's heaps of space here. The axle's probably down about 400 mil. I'll just show you. So that was the wheel well there. Whew, bald tyres. Lucky I got some new ones under here. That's the wheel well, where that was the carpet area inside, and then this is the floor beside it, just inside the box. And directly above the axle, there's just space for days, but if you come further forward or back, you hit these cross members. So I'm just going to bring it out here in the box. I think it's actually going to be, literally going to be there, the hole will be just there. And then the exhaust can just run sideways or backwards. So that should be a pretty neat spot. The fuel line can come down along the rail then and back to the front. So that's the underneath, dirty and rusty. But I haven't got to the outside of the Caravan yet. I'm doing the inside, so don't judge it. Inside looks better than it did before. Outside will look better than it does when I get there. Yeah, so that's the line there in the middle of the axle. So that's where I'll take the pipes out, straight down there. And basically with these diesel heaters, which you can get everywhere on eBay now, they're saturated the market with them. They used to be $2,000 from a specialty shop. They came down to about $1,000 from a specialty shop. They were $250 on eBay for the cheapies. Now they're down to, well, I got this one for $150. I've got two. I've got one actually in the bathroom of the house. It's outside in an enclosure, and I'll show you that guy. It's pretty funky. That one I bought 6 months ago for $180, and it's come down $30 since then. So this is what $150 with shipping included, which is just crazy. I'll go through roughly what I'm doing, but there's probably some better videos out there. But that's pretty simple. Take it out of there. I just break that. Jesus. Lucky they're $150. You have a mounting plate / heat shield, I guess. This gets screwed to the floor in the corners. You kind of do a hole saw through the middle of this. So that's like, there's an inlet and an exhaust hole and a fuel line hole. They're the only ones that get used here. So you just have a hole saw that's large enough to do all three in one go, like so. And then, yeah, you're good to go with the mounting of that. The plate gets screwed down. There's a rubber gasket on the bottom here. Fuel line pokes out here. They're the two inlet and outlet for the exhaust loop. The other loop is obviously the clean air in at the back and hot air in the front, but that's within the cabinet itself. So you get a little rinky-dink muffler, and it does actually do something. They're pretty loud, so that takes a bit of the edge off them. So yeah, the first things first, you figure out your location, put your plate down, mark a center of the two holes on the ground so you know where to do the hole saw, and then make a huge hole in the bottom of your Caravan floor. Let's do it. Well, that was a bit of a violent start to a hole. That's the cheapest hole saw set. Don't buy the $2 hole saw set from Bunnings. No crap. Hole done, and that's a nice bit of cold breeze coming through now. So now that the hole's done for the plate, we'll just clean that up. Put the plate down and mount the unit. Cool, now that the hole is done for the plate, basically what happens is you attach all the lines coming out, then you flip it over and bolt it down. So this plate, the rubber seal on it, make sure that's on first. I mean, it comes on the heater, so just make sure yours is on there if they've forgotten it. Just seals everything from the cabin. Plate can only go one way because there's a fuel line entering it. First things first, probably start with bolting the plate to the actual unit. Next thing is the fuel line. They give you these rubber connectors. They go over there with a hose clamp. We've got the cheapest hose clamps ever. Let's see how they go. You could do the white fuel line later. It's just, I find it easy to do now because otherwise you're going to be under your caravan or car or truck or whatever. I mean, if you're doing it, like the last one, it was in a standalone box, that was fun. Do it later, but here you can just feed this out, it's easy to do now. Another hose clamp on. That guy goes in there. It's a rubber fitting onto the hose, so it doesn't really leak anyway, but just make sure they're nice and tight. And then we do the exhaust. Maybe stainless, maybe not. I need to check which outlet is the exhaust first. Oh man, it's bad. Alright, well, the information is nowhere, but it's in plenty of the videos and stuff. It makes sense as well. I guess it's common sense that you want the exhaust away from the fuel. So the fuel's next to the clean air intake. The one furthest away is the exhaust. And I guess I could go and check my other heater, but it's all pretty much one way sealed up in a box, so I can't really do that now. But that's the exhaust, that's the clean air intake. So and they also make it so you can't fit each on each, which makes sense as well. Just gonna hit a few bumps, so you might as well make sure they're done up properly. That's nice and tight. That's it for outside the caravan. So feed this down. My hole saw, my bolts are hitting. My hole saw is not big enough. Little tip. Check where your clamps are on the size of your hole saw. The worst! This is gonna be fun. To do it. I couldn't remember what I did for the other heater, and then as I went to get the jigsaw, I remember doing exactly the same thing. I used that hole saw, and then I went and got the jigsaw. So good to know I'm consistent. Yeah. that's in, what happens next is the underneath gets a muffler, filter for the cold air intake, and a fuel line run, but we can do that later when it's daylight. In here, basically, this guy gets an outlet, and that can go to a vent, just there. That needs a hole saw vent down that end, so let's do that. That's a hole. Next thing is to put a vent in. I really want this vent down to this area, or even better yet, like in this area, but I don't think I can run the pipe 180 on itself back over the unit. Do yourself a favour and buy a good hole saw set. I don't buy a medium hole saw set, like a Frost one from Bunnings. They gotta be better than this. Don't buy the ones that are straight from the bargain bin. Absolutely terrible. So after you've done your little hole saw hole, which if anyone wanted to know what size it was, I don't know if they even say a size on them. That's an 86mm. You could do 83 or an 82 or maybe even an 80. This is slightly too big, but it's all I've got. This plate goes on here and screws to the wall. It's pretty self-explanatory. Oh yeah, you definitely want to go smaller. You want an 80. There's no meat left in that timber. That is okay because it's pretty dodgy. The screws are barely holding into any bit of timber there. I'm gonna grab some glue and we'll follow that up. Take out those token screws. This stuff's diabolical, so that's what I use for the solar panels up there. So this will definitely keep it on. Put these token screws back on. Once this stuff touches you once, it's everywhere. So after you do your little air vent, which you can do two of, they give you a splitter, T-piece, and then you can do two vents in a bigger van or have one facing one way, one facing the other way. But like I said, I've had one of these in the bathroom of the house. It heats up our whole bedroom and bathroom and whatnot from one vent, and this caravan is absolutely tiny, so it'll be running on the lowest setting, probably on one vent, and it's going to heat this place up. They get a clamp on either end. Hold that there while you force it in. So basically we have a hole at the end for ventilation coming in. Vent done now. All I've done just in that little bit between was mount the control panel here. So the edge of the bed, the bed's up at the moment, but we put the bed down. Bed's down. You get this little recess area that was going to be just like a drink stand or kickstand or something, but I'm mounting everything here now. So control panel for the heating, out 240 outlet, but from the inverter when I've wired that up. Put the remote there before I forget it. That's going straight down back across to the unit, I'm going to drill a hole right now to go down for the fuel pump, and then I might cut those because the fuel pump connection's massive. It's a big, probably 30mm hole required. So I'm going to just cut this line and feed the line down so the hole's not so big, and then splice it onto the car, under the Caravan. I mean, the reason why that's on is just because I've just hooked up to the battery straight up, but it's not doing anything. I don't think it even turns on properly. Oh, it does. Oh no, error's out, no fuel pump connected. Yeah, I'll drill that hole now, and then inside the Caravan's done for the diesel heater. Just got to do outside. Alright, under the Caravan, you can see all the horrible frame in all its glory. Brake wires are smashed. So, exhaust outlet, got the fuel under here. Should be heaps of fuel to get to that front tank. And then this is the wire I've just poked down here coming out. And I'm gonna splice that plug end back on now. I just made sure I marked a side. I don't know what is positive or negative for what's been sent here, but I've just made a mark here so I can tell later on what it was. They're fairly generous in the amount of wire they give you here, which is good because I might run this pump, I mean, as far as they recommend, away from the sleeping area, because it does tick away, it's pretty loud. Cool, that end's done. Just run this fuel line along these clips, they're here already. Might do something like that. Alright, I'm gonna get some parts and I'll be back. Little wolf spider. Muffles over there with the air intake, and then the fuel and the fuel pump wire comes down along the chassis, and then I've just finished wiring this up here. So that's attached with a rubber bracket to the chassis rail there. Wiring goes in underneath, then you just got, okay, we see it better if I come along there. So you can see it coming into the pump there attached. And then I've just cable tied this loosely to one of the screws up here. Then what I think right here in this area, that's right underneath the storage container where the fuel tank's going to go. So this fuel line, the excess here, is just going to go straight up through the floor and into the fuel tank. So all it's left to do is install the fuel tank and give it a run, because everything else is connected. I should say that there are arrows on the filter and on the pump, facing the way you want the flow to go, so towards the heater, this way, down the Caravan. Yeah, don't ask me how I know that. Alright, so this is the fuel tank, and it's a 15 litre tank. I thought it was 10, it's 15. And if this saves one person the trouble I had the first time around, my god. The mounting hardware and the little fuel filter you need for this tank are inside the tank. So if you think you've never got it or you've lost it, just look in the tank first because it's all in here. That's the fuel barb and then the mounting screws for it. The first kit I had actually had a low pickup point in the tank so that you could run it pretty low. I think in all the new kits they just put one fuel barb in here, so it goes in. Where do we go? Yeah, depending where you want the nozzle, because you can run it either or. It goes in down here, so they've changed the point. In the old tank I had, that mounting point was about a third, and then you had an internal line that ran down and around. But it was so hard to get in, I didn't do it, so that the tank only has about 10 litres capacity, really, because you can never draw down the bottom. Which is good, because that's where the sediment goes anyway. They've taken that point down a little bit lower here, because you're never going to get that much sediment. And yeah, they don't run the internal looping now, just the barb itself, which is probably a bit easier to fit. I'm sure all the kits are a little bit different, but in my case it was a 9mm hole for that barb to go in. 8 didn't cut it, it was a 9. So I think from what I learnt doing the first way around, the easiest way to get this barb, because it's got to go inside the tank and then out that hole, is you can spend half an hour of your life putting it in there and jiggling it to get it out there, and you might get it. The easiest trick I saw was just run a bit of wire down through here, or obviously you go this way, you run your wire in the end and then back out the feeder, and then once you've done that you can just slip this down the wire until it pops out the end and grab the barb. So we'll do that, I think. So the wire's in both ways. Let's see if I can show you this. I fed it up from the bottom, grabbed it with a pair of pliers at the top, that wasn't too bad. And then you grab the little barb, which I've probably just put down and lost. There he is. Put the O-ring on it first, otherwise you're going to forget that and forget to do it again. And then obviously goes with the barb facing the way it would out. And put him in there. I've chosen the worst route for the wire ever, which is under one of the feeding sections. We'll see if it makes it. And there he is, out the bottom. So I went a long way around. The wire's gone around that back little hoop in there. And then out, which is a bit shit, but it made it. So I won't pull the wire out just yet, just in case I fumble it. But what you're going to do now is, you're going to pull the wire out. Put that second O-ring on. Makes the seal on this side. And if you let go and it goes in, you just do it again. It's not that bad. And then you get the little nut. I'm gonna wash it there. I'll give you one. Anyway, you get the little nut. It's pretty firm. That's all done up. You should have one last piece of rubber hose left. And some clamps. Goes on this end, and the other one goes in the fuel line we finished under the Caravan, so I'll feed that up through the floor. Probably tomorrow, because I've got to empty that front storage bay and mount this. But that's that done. It's pretty much past midnight. I want to go to bed. I've been up since 6 something. But I want to run this too, so fuel tank's just sitting here. It'll be a bit higher. I'll be in this bay next time around, and it's got just enough fuel to run for, well, for hours and that, but it's got enough fuel to test it, that's for sure. And it's about the same length of line that I'll be running when I actually install the fuel tank. Battery is just hot wired, jerry rigged. Should have power on the control panel. Turn it on. And there is a sequence you gotta run when you first do it. And turn this off. And I think it's okay and down. Okay. I just reset it and basically started manually priming the pump, which I've known from the last one. But basically you press OK and down in the off state, and it starts just running the pump with that little pump diagram there. You can hear it going underneath the caravan now. So, when I meant the pump's annoying, I meant the pump's annoying. So that runs till it gets a head of fuel. So let's go check that. Alright, it's fuel on the line. Hasn't reached the pump yet.
You can see it's reached the filter. It's filling that filter up.
See it going there. Go and prime one more time, because this one's got a longer fuel line. And then we should be able to run it. You don't want to run out of diesel that often, because otherwise you've got to prime it. And if the fuel lines are long like this one, you've got to keep priming and priming. Alright, that second prime's finished. Let's try and get it here. Turn it on, see what happens. So I think what happens first is it has a glow plug. Fires up the glow plug for a little bit of time, and starts the pump, I think, maybe after half a minute or a minute. And then once the fuel starts going through and the glow plug's fired it off, so the actual heater kicks in. So this is when it's pulling the most amps, is now, just as it runs the fan and the glow plug and everything to fire itself up. And then it basically just ticks over later once it's fired up with the glow plug running. Cool. I think we've got ignition. It's got a bit of a woo sound to it. Let's go check outside. A little bit of smoke. And this doesn't. The first time I run, they do this. Not the first time, I mean ever, and then it stops. I mean every time it runs and you've run the fuel tank out, it does this. So it doesn't do this once it gets up to speed. It's just like while the glow plug's running and you've run the fuel tank out and you've primed it again. And then this just runs clean afterwards. So don't expect this out the side of your caravan. Smoking everyone else in the caravan park. That is a pretty neat spot for an exhaust though. Just got the side pipe going. Starting to clean up a bit. Got a fair whistle this one. Yeah, she's got a bit of heat. Sounds like a hairdryer in here. Yeah, she's pretty warm. Stoked with that one. Heating. Woo! Not a bad. It's been a massive day. Heater's working. That's how you install a diesel heater. The slowest way possible, but it's in and it's working. See ya, I'm off to bed.